Hi everyone, it's Alyssa and this is Always Cinema Chic, the place that encourages you to stay in, get dressed up, and watch a movie. So today I'm going to do my review for A Ghost Story, and just a little warning that this is definitely not a horror film, so please do not go into that expecting that type of genre. Instead, it's a love story that is really a meditation on life and time, and it's absolutely beautiful. So A Ghost Story stars Rooney and Casey Affleck, and it's directed by David Lowery. He made this for a mere $100,000 right after he finished filming Pete's Dragon, which is also a great movie. And upon some further research, I learned that he went and he found this house that was going to be demolished, and that he just started to film there without any permits and a very sparse script. And what he made is an absolutely beautiful, reflective, meditative film. And the plot, I could probably wrap up the plot of the movie, for the whole movie, in about 2 minutes, but something like this really isn't about the plot. Instead, it's about the feeling, and this is a perfect visual poem, and I enjoyed every second of it. So in the simple terms, the movie is about this couple with the very simplistic names of C for Casey Affleck and M for Rooney Mara, and through a series of snippets into the couple's life, we see that they are happy, but they don't always see eye to eye. C has this inexplicable desire to stay in the same place, while M is ready to leave their house and grow as a person. But at the end of the day, we end up experiencing the great love that these two characters have for each other. C ends up dying very early on in a car accident, and we're left with this long static shot in the morgue for about a minute. We're just watching it, and then you see him kind of rise up with the sheets wrapped around him and kind of blackness for eyes, and he looks like the traditional image of a ghost that a 6-year-old would come up with. And that's about it. He comes back to the house and he watches over M. But what I loved about this movie was its fearless minimalism. It is not afraid to have a static shot that just focuses on a character for an uncomfortably long period of time. So the best example is when M comes back to the house right after C has died, and she finds this pie on the kitchen table. Now, in a typical movie, she would look depressed, take the pie, eat it. There'd be a ton of cuts, and it would be done in about 30 seconds. But here, she takes the pie, sits on the floor, and you get this static shot for about 5 minutes or so of her just eating the pie, and then at the very end going to throw it up. And there's no camera movement, there's no dialogue, there's no music. It's just Rooney Mara eating this pie, and that's it. And it was beautiful. So by slowing down the film, we can really experience the true scope of emotion that M is feeling. We forget that we're watching a movie, and we simply experience what grief feels like. With that said, a movie like this is definitely not going to be for everyone. The film is very slow-paced, and it goes to some very outlandish places, as the ghost doesn't experience time in the same way that you or I would. So a second for him is actually a month for us. And as the film progresses, time starts to move both backwards and forwards in these really rapid rates. So while I thought this was going to be a romance, which it sort of is, it turns into a meditation on what it means to leave a legacy in the world, and how a human life is both nothing and everything, depending on your perspective. This movie will make you think of your own mortality and the lives of everyone around you. It might even get you to reflect on the lives of people from the past and the future. I know it did that for me. This is a very large movie in terms of its ideas, but it's very small in scope, and it's very intimate feeling, and the characters are very quiet, and Rooney Mara just fits into this movie perfectly. She has that kind of quiet breathiness that I think works so well in this kind of film, and she reteams with Casey Affleck. The two were in Eighth and Body Saints together, which is also directed by David Lowery, and they just are so comfortable with each other. They seem like a couple that's been together forever, and this is the perfect kind of movie for Casey Affleck because he's wrapped in a sheet and doesn't have anything to say for much of the movie. So it's perfect. Suffice it to say, I really don't like Casey Affleck. I will avoid movies that he's in, but I really wanted to see this one. And you know, any actor could play this role. He's fine in it, but you really don't have to see him for that long. He's just kind of walking around in a sheet for most of the movie, and I like it that way. But I'm so grateful for movies like this. It proves that you don't need a really large budget and you don't need this full-blown script to have a beautiful film and this beautiful idea. It's haunting. It's also kind of funny. There's a moment where there's another ghost that scene meets and they have this silent conversation and you get the subtitles on the bottom, and it's very funny. But at the end of the day, it's also concise. It's 92 minutes long. It's approachable for an art house film because you don't need to worry about being stuck there. It's not like a Terrence Malick movie. It's not going to be 2.5 hours. It's short. Even though it's slow paced, it is short. Now for the grades. In terms of film and artistry, I'd give this movie a B+. This really is minimalism at its best. It's a beautiful story. The cinematography is gorgeous considering what they had to work with. And it's just a very memorable story. And in terms of watchability, I really enjoyed this. I would also give it a B+, even though it's very slow paced. I think it's going to spark a conversation after, so you should watch it with someone so that you can talk about it. And I really enjoyed watching this film. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please leave a comment if you want to see the film or you have seen the film. Like and subscribe, and remember, it is always in fashion to stay in, get dressed up, and make it a cinema chic night. Bye everyone!